All right. We are live and excited to be here with you today. It is the top of the hour, and welcome to our Agent Attraction Mastermind call. We do this call every Thursday at noon Eastern, and just excited to be here with you guys. We got exciting things happening. Shareholders event is going on right now. I unfortunately was not able to get to that event this year, but I'm here with y'all, which is just as cool. And we got some people probably checking in from the event. So welcome everybody. We'll be live on Facebook as well as here on Zoom. So what I got today for you is a couple things. We're going to talk about a format change that's happening. And this Thursday call has evolved since we started it, several years ago. And what we're going to be doing moving forward is we are going to be focused on more of what are you guys stuck with? What are we highlighting? So we want to highlight and do an agent interview. We want to really make sure that we're successfully helping the people that are doing this, that are choosing to take time out of their schedule to be here with us. And we know that you guys have questions, you have obstacles, your roadblocks, you had things happen over the last week. And we want to make this more of a hands-on, more tactical call to move you guys forward. What we know is that the people that are doing agent attraction, that are having these questions and challenges, they're the same challenges and questions that other people are having too. So when we thought about, okay, what's this next iteration of real estate game changers going to be, and what are we going to do to provide value in our mastermind? We said, well, we get so much value when we go to the events, and the real value in the events, it's not so much the training as the stories. So we want to highlight the stories of our members that are having success with this at all stages. So maybe you're somebody who's brand new to EXP, but you got out of the gate and you had a lot of success. We want to hear that story. Maybe you've been doing EXP for a while and you've just started to hit your stride and you're having success. And maybe you've been in EXP forever and you're just killing it. And we want to hear your story as well. In all of those stories are different paths, different journeys to the destination, but the actual nuts and bolts of how they got there, there's similarities. And we want to highlight those similarities because when we tell you guys, and I'll share my screen real quick. When we tell you guys, hey, there's a process here. Hold on a second. I got to open up my preferences. Okay, so can't do that right now. I had to update my computer and it's messing something up. When we tell you there's a 4-step process of peak, present, pass, and promote, and that's the process, and we tell you that over and over again, you can sort of become desensitized to like how that actually works in the real world. But when you actually uncover and you hear from somebody who's doing EXP, who's actually out there presenting and getting people signed up, you realize like it really is the process, guys. It's what works. And anytime we deviate from that process, it doesn't work as well. As we say in real estate, you can still get rewarded for bad behavior. So there's success that happens even at the expense of doing it the wrong way. And that's awesome. And we're grateful for that. And we feel lucky by that. But if we really want to hone in on what are the practices, what are the processes to make this thing work well, we've identified what those are. Now, you can go into our Facebook guide section, and in the Game Changers private Facebook group, and guides in the top, you can see all of the 12 building blocks of revenue share and all those trainings. And we've updated those trainings, and we really feel like they're very stable at this point. And if something changes, we'll certainly re-record it, but we feel like those aren't going to change. And we want you guys to go there and get those. That'd be your foundation. But many of you have seen those presentations. You've watched me go through it. And really what we want to do now is pivot and move into more of an interaction time with you guys, and where we interview and we also pull out these questions. Does anybody have any questions that's on this call right now about that format change? Cool. Don't see any hands raised. Good to see all your smiling faces. So I actually have a interview slotted for you today. And let let me pull it up right here. So we have today, we have Adam Pendle. Adam, are you there? And you guys are just finding out about this format change, so he may not be here quite yet. So when he gets here, we'll jump over to him. But what questions do you guys have? You know, people that are out there actually doing the good deed, doing the work. What questions do you guys have?
John,
Anybody?
yeah, I do. I was in the Tuesday mastermind as well. You were
Nice.
talking about the difference between like having a discovery call and having, just getting them to watch the presentation. If you have to have a discovery call, you said you bring up like 3 or 4 things, to present EXP. What are those? What are your first go-to building blocks that you discuss?
Yeah, so what Irene's referring to is on Tuesday we have a mastermind call for all our members of Agent Attract. So that's a whole separate platform that people are paying for, that they're a part of. And we talked about, hey, when people are approaching this from a cold market perspective, and I just want to go on record to say that is not the way that we teach that to go after people primarily. So warm market, people that know, like, and trust you already is the pathway to get the most amount of traction out of the gate with this opportunity. But suppose you've been around for a couple of years and you've gone through your whole list and you're still following up with that list, but you want to do more. You want to put your pedal down on agent attraction. You want to go after agent attraction in a big way. That's when this door to cold market opens. The mistake would be, and that's why I'm taking the time to say this, the mistake would be, I'm going to go after cold market from day one because that feels less scary to me because I'm calling people that I don't know and I'm not risking my ego. That's going to lead to less results and it's going to take longer to build it that way. Does it mean it doesn't work? No, not at all. It's working very well for people. It's just, that's not the first approach you want to take. So just want to make sure we're all really clear on that, because my goal and my objective on these masterminds every single time is to give you the best advice that we have as a company, as an organization. And my best advice is exhaust your warm market first, then go into cold market. Now, with that disclaimer out of the way, what Irene's talking to is when you're in a cold market environment and you're calling up somebody who doesn't know you, they've never heard of you, they've never spoken to you, and you're pitching EXP, so you're piquing their interest on EXP, instead of going straight from peak to, I'm presenting a 35-minute video to you from themodelexplained.com, you want to have what we call a discovery call. And on that discovery call, you want to sort of, understand a little bit about their business and whet their appetite for wanting to get on and do a presentation and get into EXP and then get on a 3-way call. I mean, that's the goal, right? You want to move them forward in the process. But what you're going to find with cold market is that because there's no relationship there, your ability to move them from initial peak to presentation that's going to be 30 plus minutes long is very difficult. So you want to have a discovery call with them. And on a discovery call, really my focus is I want to build rapport with them. So I want to present what I have. I want to build rapport and I want to get to know them more. So what I want to do is if Irene, if you and I are doing a discovery call together, it's going to go something like this. Hey, Irene, thanks so much for carving out, 15 minutes of your time. I know you're busy. I know you're having a lot of success. Tell me a little bit more about that business. Like, what's going on? And, you'll say whatever you say. And I'm really trying to get past all the, superficial, like facade stuff. And I really want to find out what your pain point is. And once I have that pain point, then I'm going to pick what 2 or 3 things I'm going to highlight about EXP and really get them to want to do a presentation. So let's say that you give me a whole bunch of things and how great everything is. And I'm like, okay, well, I know as long as I've been doing real estate, that there's not a single realtor on planet Earth that doesn't have problems. So I'm going to be like, okay, it's so cool. Like, oh, that's so great that you're doing all this great stuff, right? So I'm building rapport with her. Then I might say something like this: Irene, what's the one rock in your shoe? Like, when you think about your real estate business as a whole, like, what's one thing that just frustrates you, aggravates you, you wish you could change, you wish it wasn't that way, you wish this year was going differently? Like, what's that one rock in your shoe that comes to mind immediately for you right now? She's going to say whatever she's going to say. And let's just say that the market's down. Like, let's say that that's the thing that she says. Well, I'm just frustrated right now. My business is down 50% of where it was last year. Very common, by the way. To which I might say, great. So if I'm identifying with this person, she's scared, nervous, and frustrated that her business is not doing what it did last year. So very simple. Let's not overcomplicate this, guys. Let's understand that, that causes real anxiety. That may be causing a financial hardship. If it's not causing a financial hardship, it's certainly leading her down a fear path mentally of financial hardship. Like, oh my God, if I don't fix this, I'm going to have this problem. So we just want to keep it real simple. So would it make sense for me now to go straight into like how awesome EXP is because you can earn all this revenue share? Not likely. That's probably not going to be the hot button I'm going to lead with. What I'm going to say is, hey, listen, I totally get it. What you're sharing with me right now, Irene, is what I'm hearing from a lot of other people. So it's the old feel, felt, found framework. I understand how you feel. I felt the same way. Here's what I found, or here's what I'm finding. EXP is an amazing network of agents who collaborate and share like no other. In that collaboration, Irene, I think is the pathway forward for you. So, we do mastermind calls every Tuesday where we bring on top agents who are winning in this market, who have found a way forward in this market, and they're absolutely crushing it. And they're teaching their best strategies, tools, and things they're doing right now with you. What I'd love to do is really help you understand how all of that happens. Like, why is there a collaboration at EXP that's unlike any other company I've known or been a part of in the last 21 years doing real estate? And really break that down for you. In order to do that, Irene, I've really got to share the presentation of how EXP works so that you understand why are people giving all their best secrets and opening up their playbooks for people like you and me to learn from so that we too can make it through this market and get our business back on track. Would it be beneficial for us to set up that call to go through that presentation so that you can understand? Then we can do some more due diligence and I can actually show you and open up some of these layers that would be available to you to help you course correct your business. To which she's going to say yes or no. Both are cool. But like my best chance of moving her forward is, hey, what is your challenge? What is your problem? And how can I help you with that immediate problem? And in order to help you, I have to have you understand EXP. Therefore, you have to see the presentation and then we can do more. Is anybody want to comment on that? Ask more questions, give more feedback. If you're doing stuff like that, anything you want to add, this is the open forum kind of interaction that I want to create.
Hey, John. Good morning.
Yes. Good morning.
So what's really helped me, and I've been going at different angles for 3 years on this, I got to be honest. And I finally think I'm getting traction with the way I'm doing it now. So when I first started doing this, I cold called a lot of agents. Okay. I got them in my system and over the past 3 years, I've just been emailing them. Nobody's got in. Right. But I've saved them in there because I knew they're going to do something. Right. So what I've been doing lately, the past 3 or 4 months, I've been inviting them to our Tuesday Mastermind. And some of them are showing up, but now I've got the in to call them up and say, hey, I've been inviting you. Are you getting my emails? And I open up the conversations. Oh yeah, we've been getting them, Tom. Yeah. And then one thing leads to another. Then we talk about EXP eventually, and I set them up on a Zoom call. So this for me right now is working. And with the people that are opting out and unsubscribing, I'm going through my MLS and I'm looking for the top agents. I'm putting them on that email campaign and inviting them to the Tuesday Mastermind. So
yeah, nice, dude. I mean, if you stick with this long enough, it doesn't matter how wrong you do it, you're eventually going to get it right. Because at the end of the day, it's not very complicated what we're doing. We have amazing real estate company powerhouse behind us that has more benefits, bells and whistles than anything I've ever seen before. And we have to have conversations with people and we have to connect them to those benefits in a way that makes sense to them. You know, it really hasn't changed. If you go back to some of the earliest trainings that are recorded that are on video about EXP, you're going to find the Gene Fredericks and the Rob Flicks, and they're going to tell you exactly what I'm telling you right now. Stop talking about EXP and start talking about them. Find out what's going on with them and their business, build a connection, and then help them move forward. And you have all the tools to do that with EXP. So if we understand the person and the problem, we can then identify the solution. And for some people, it is going to be revenue share. For some people, it is going to be healthcare. For some people, it will be the stocks. For some people, it's absolutely going to be about agent production and training. Because 85% of the people at EXP are there because it's a low cap and split and they get free training. So let's not overcomplicate this. These are where our odds are in our greatest favor. So if I had to approach cold calling as like my main source of, you know, business right now, I'm going to approach it from, we have the best coaching and training to help you through this market. Period. End of story. First, I'm going to find out about them, let them get it all out. And then I'm going to identify their problem, which is probably a production-based problem, or I don't know where this is going problem. I'm going to tie it back to training, because even if they're a team leader or broker owner, their challenge right now is that their agents aren't selling houses because they can't figure out this new market. And because of that, they're leaving. Production training, sales training is going to provide them with the tools and resources they need to not only hold on to their agents, but to actually help their agents make some sales, and they can all move forward together. One other caveat I would add to that is, like, you know, it's market to message match. So like, who are you going after? You know, are you going after and this is purely from a cold market standpoint. If you're like, we talk in warm market, go after the most influential people first. I don't think that's necessarily true in cold market. In cold market, who needs you the most first? That's your low-hanging fruit. And the people that need you the most are the people that are selling, you know, maybe, you know, you can use tools out there like, you know, there's different prospecting tools. What's the name of the tool that Showing Time has? Like a market view broker, if you can even get that in your market. Most markets you can't. But you could use a tool like that and it'll show you, hey, these people did 7 million last year, and this year they're on pace to do 3 million. That's probably a good person to call. Don't call the person that did 25 million last year and they're on pace to do 40 million this year. You're probably going to get dead air on the other end of that phone. I got a question from Irene, or is your hand still up from before?
No, it's not. Sorry. I'm full of them today.
Oh, cool.
Is there a specific place we can go and print something and have it in front of us that are the benefits of EXP, like the healthcare, the stock options, the lead generation options, not to throw that up at somebody, but to have it like in front of us. So when they talk about their pain points, we can go, oh, listen, you know, blah, 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 whatever. But I haven't been able to find all of that information compiled in one place, and I'm going crazy trying to just
Irene,
different places to find it.
Do you think I need that sheet? No.
No, I don't think you.
And I would say that to you as an example, like, this is what you're doing. This is what you're involved in. Like, you need to have an unconscious competence about what are the 5 to 7 greatest benefits of being with EXP. Because if you have a list, you're looking at that list and you're not listening to the person. Like, you should be able to rattle off the stock opportunities that, you know, and all of that. Like, how do you earn free stock? How much do you get? What is the agent equity program? You should be able to rattle off generally what teams at EXP are, what it is to have revenue share and what that model is, what healthcare is and what your talking track is around that, what the training and collaboration is and what you're talking. Like, you should make your own sheet. And in the process of making your own sheet, really understand what those bullet points are in your words and be able to communicate them. And then you're dangerous, because the person that can listen the most is going to be the person that can solve the best. And if you're like not even aware enough and you got to read off a list what the benefits are, you're not really ready to listen to the person.
For sure. I understand that completely. But I have to learn it first. That's the thing, right? I have to find a place where all this stuff is, where I can dive into it and learn it, so I can just
come at it naturally.
So let's do it right now. What
Sure.
would be look, there's probably 39 different individual bullet point benefits to EXP, but I don't care about 34 of them. What are the 5 biggest benefits to EXP? Simple scales, right? So let's channel everybody into one of those 5. So what do you think the top 5 are?
Okay, I'm gonna give you what I think somebody would say to me, right? Because I'm really new at this, haven't even like started.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. So with my brokerage, I get this lead gen, option. And so what does EXP's lead gen look like? Like what kind of platforms do they use and what can I expect for a return?
Yeah, at EXP, as part of your monthly technology fee, you're going to get a free KV Core platform. That platform would run you several $100s if you were not with EXP, but a benefit of being EXP is that you're going to get that full platform, and it's a full IDX solution with your local MLS. But let me ask you, Irene, what exactly are you using at your current brokerage, and what are they giving you?
Bold leads.
Okay.
And they're just giving me, leads that call in, bold leads.
And what's your success rate been with those leads?
I'd say 50%. I could turn over about 50%.
So of the leads they give you, 50% of them turn into closed business?
Within 3 to 6 months. Yeah, the other I nurture.
Okay, wonderful. And what is your current split structure with your broker?
70-30.
70-30. Okay. And do you have a cap on that 30?
I do.
Okay, what's your cap?
12,000.
Okay. So you're paying $12,000, you're paying into that cap at a 70-30, and you're getting leads from your broker that convert at a 50% conversion rate.
Yes.
And when you cap, do you still get those leads?
Yes. And I do pay a small fee for them as well. So
Okay.
I'm not getting them just for my split.
What's
so I
that?
pay $199 a month.
Okay. So, what we have at EXP is we have a $16,000 annual cap, and you're going to get a free lead gen platform, and you can drive traffic to that website for free. It's yours. You can take it with you. If you ever leave EXP, it's still yours. And you can also pay to generate leads on that website. The leads that you're going to generate on that website that you're going to pay for are not going to convert at 50%. I've actually never heard of a lead source converting at 50%. So I want to congratulate you on where you are. And this really may not be for you. If you're converting leads at 50%, my best advice to you, and I'm always going to give people my best advice because I want to serve you and help you, would be to stay exactly where you are. Because across the industry board, we're going to see paid leads convert at 1 to 3%. And then higher premium lead service options like Zillow leads are going to convert closer to 25%. But those are going to cost you upwards of $500 or more per lead in most major markets. So these are the types of analysis that we get into with agents that we work with. And we really like to focus on the numbers and help you grow your career in a systematic, process-driven way. That's how I grew and scaled my career. And if you're getting results that I think I can't help you achieve at EXP, then I'm going to tell you to stay right where you are. So, sounds like you got a really good deal. And of everybody I've talked to this month, nobody's had a good deal of that. So, if you'd like to learn more about EXP, I'm happy to help you. Otherwise, if you're converting at 50% and it's truly 50%, you should stay right where you are.
Thank you. Perfect for role playing that with me. I didn't mean to throw you off with that. And I was just coming up with numbers off the top of my head.
It doesn't throw me off because that's real world bullshit I get all the time.
Right.
And I'll tell them, and I'll just do a gentle takeaway like that, like this might not be for you. And what you'll find is that in most cases they say, well, I've only gotten 2 of those leads in the last 6 months. Okay, well then what else are you doing for your business?
Right. Because they're obviously talking to you for a reason.
Like people will tell you anything, and I'm not thrown off by anything they say, because they're either going to BS me and I'm going to dig in and I'm going to try to pick apart their BS, or they're just going to own their BS and I'm going to move on because there's somebody else that really wants my help that I can help. So I thought that was a great role play, and I was willing to just say, yeah, let's just roll with this.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
You're welcome. Who else has got something?
I'll just kind of chime in. John, you were talking about, using the Market View broker platform. So I do 100% cold calling. I've been in EXP for almost 3 years. I went through my warm market pretty quick. I recruited 7 agents out of my warm market. And then I got to the point where I was like, okay, I need more people to call. So I did exactly what you talked about. I subscribed to Market View Broker in several states where I had agents, and I had them purchase it. And then I went in and I did exactly what you talked about. I created a spreadsheet from capping agents and above. So they had to do a minimum of 3 million in production. And I concentrate from 3 to 10 million. And then I do a 24-month analysis trend line to see what their percentages changed. And then I sorted the spreadsheet so that the biggest percentage change, their names were on top. And I just started calling those people first. And in my first 15 dials, not conversations, but 15 dials, I booked 5 appointments, fully onboarded a icon level agent, and I have 7 more. And I only started this in April. So I've only been doing it from April and half of May. And it's a game changer. And so I just want you to know it does work.
That's the exact approach that I would do if I was doing cold market, is what you're doing there, because like those are the people that need you the most. Those are the people that are in the most pain. If I'm armed and dangerous with that information and I get on a call with somebody like Irene and we have that role play we just had, and I have that information as background, you better believe I'm going to dig extra hard and I'm going to get that BS to surface. Because I might say something like that. If I know that, I might say, back to Irene's example, I might say, well, Irene, like, it sounds like you got a pretty good deal. Is your business up this year versus last year, or is it down some? And then if she lies to me, I'm just going to get off the phone, because I don't want to talk to a liar that knows it all. But if she's honest with me, I'm going to be like, well, could it be that it's not about the leads or the lead platform, and it's more about everything else that we offer? And we can get into a call because that person's in a challenged mode. So I think it's great, man. Keep up the good work.
Well, and I'll reiterate too what you said about the discovery call. I do exactly what you're talking about. I find the pebble in their shoe. I mean, that's the whole purpose for that discovery call, is to really hone in on them. I don't talk about EXP at all that first call. And then from there,
Frederick taught me that. He said, don't talk about EXP, even if they bring EXP up. And I don't actually do this right now. So like, but I mean, it just goes to show, like, you've got to really connect with the person before you really have the permission to help them forward. Yep. But Gene Frederick was so adamant about it. He'd be like, my first appointment with somebody, we don't talk about EXP. And I never was in an appointment with him to see if he really did this, but I got to believe what he says is, he didn't talk about EXP. They brought it up. He'd like deflect it and keep talking about them. And
and the interesting thing is that most of the people that I'm talking to, these are cold people. I've never met them. They actually have asked me for the second appointment. They go, I want to learn more about this. So, and right now everybody's open. People are really open to change right now. So
absolutely. Well, guys, awesome. What I'd love to do right now is transition to the interview portion of our Attraction Mastermind. And today we have Adam Pendle. Did I say that last name right, Adam?
You did. Well done.
Perfect. And Adam is going to share some of his insights with us with EXP and what he's been up to. And Adam, how long have you been with EXP?
I've been here for just over a year. Nice. It would have been March of last year that we transitioned.
What made you like open up your eyes to EXP and ultimately join?
Yeah, so we kind of got to a point in our business where we felt pretty maxed out. My dad and I are a team. He's been an agent for 35 years. I've been an agent for about 9 now, and just felt really maxed. So we actually hired a coach. This would have been fall of 2021. We hired a coach. They had us dive into our expenses. So, hey, start with your brokerage with those expenses, and let's see where you guys are at, what you're spending. And I'd never done that before. I thought we were on a great split. I mean, I had interviewed with other offices, and so I told my coach, I'm like, bro, I don't really want to take the time to do this. And he's like, so
Who's your coach?
his name is Jason Shepardak. He's with Club Wealth. He's not at EXP.
Okay.
So we did that, and he's like, you guys are paying way too much. We were paying our brokerage over $100,000 a year, and he's like, you guys are paying too much. So I asked him, I said, well, where should we go? What should we look into? And he said, check out EXP. I'm in the process of kind of thinking through making a shift there. If I wasn't where I am now, that's where I'd be. So it took 3 months to get like a good understanding of it, and talk with you. I had been listening to Lars's podcast for a number of months, and so I saw him make a shift. So I reached out to him, got connected with him, talked through everything with him, analyzed expenses with him, got an understanding of it, and then we pulled our team over. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How many conversations did it take for you and your dad to go from we're talking about EXP for the first time to we're ready to move the team over?
Oh, a lot. I don't even know how many. I mean, it literally took me
You did a 3-way call with me?
I did. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. It would have been at the beginning of the process. But it literally took us 3 months to, like, my dad was so set in where he was. He'd been at that same brokerage for 34 years, and I couldn't believe he was even willing to have the conversation. So I took on the lead to get an understanding of it, had lots of conversations, listened to lots of stuff. And then once we felt comfortable, my coach asked us, we were kind of at this point where we weren't sure what we even wanted to do, because he's getting to the point where he's kind of winding down his business. And so our coach was talking with us, and he said, in 5 years, what brokerage is going to position you in the best way for your future, for your family? And my dad and I looked at each other and we're like, we know what we need to do. And
Yeah. Oh, it's so good, man. Good coach too, by the way. Like, those are just the real questions that don't change from, our model to any other model, from coach to coach. That's why we always say, like, the best place for a coach is at EXP, because when you understand EXP, you're going to understand it's the best next destination for anybody you're coaching or talking to. I was actually a coach before I got into EXP, and I had coached people to go to EXP as well before I was even in EXP. When I was still one of the people that was like, I will never go to EXP, I was coaching people and telling them to go to EXP. So, like, that should have been a light bulb for me, but it wasn't. What's your business? What's your EXP group like now?
So I only have 10 people in my downline.
Okay.
I think I'm still learning it. I mean, I've tried a handful of different things. I've tried connecting with people on LinkedIn. What I've kind of seen some traction with lately is, and I've mainly focused on my market, and the people I know. But what I've seen some traction with lately is offering just to dive into their expenses and what it could look like inside of EXP.
So that's interesting. And what you'll find is that a lot of people approach their prospecting in the same way that it worked for them. So because that worked for you, now you're like, oh, I'm going to approach people that way.
Yeah.
I was a guy that was so anti-EXP for so many years that I approached EXP prospecting as, well, hey, who else hates EXP like I did? I'm going to go call them and be like, hey, dude, I know you hate EXP. So did I. But here's what I found out. We got to take a look at this together. Tell me if I'm missing something. And that worked well for me, because what works for you will work well for you in your prospecting, because it's natural and it's real to you. And then as we scale up, we can go outside of those immediate levels of what worked for us to other ways that make sense for us to prospect. What's your biggest challenge with prospecting?
That's a great question. I want to kind of start filtering into some other markets, and I struggled to even get my link working to this, so I was a little late joining the call. But I feel like I need to dive into resources like, is it Darren? Darren, were you talking a few minutes ago? What?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Darren Isaac.
I'd love to find out more resources on things like that, because I mean, besides LinkedIn, I don't have those connections outside of my market, and I've had gentle touches on a lot of the agents in my immediate market, but I think that's a long-term play, and I don't want to bombard them too much. So I need those other sources like what you have going. That's awesome.
How many sales do you generally do per year?
Individually, I'll usually do between 70 and 100 deals.
Wow. Personally, by yourself. Wow. What market are you in?
I'm in South Bend, Indiana. It's right by Notre Dame.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you, are there any one, two, or three things that you do consistently every year to generate that kind of business?
Yeah. So I've been, and expireds have been great for me this year. I just listed one for 1.9, and our average sales price is usually like 200. So not a common listing around here. So expires have been great. I still hitting for sale by owners. For sale by owners have been good to me as well. And then repeat business, referrals, all that kind of stuff has been our large source.
So I got a couple thoughts running through my head right now that I'm gonna lay out before you. My first question though is, of those 70 to 100 deals that you do every year, did you 100% of the time ask the person that was the co-broke agent to learn about EXP?
No.
So like that just has to happen for all of us. And if it's not happening, we need to dig into why that is and what the mindset is behind that, and like what limiting beliefs you may have. Because if you and I are doing a deal and I'm already in a transaction with you, I'm going to be like, Adam, man, you can imagine like with the amount of business that we're both doing, like we both come into contact with lots of agents. Hey, most of them don't go this smoothly. Like I really can tell that you're a professional and I love working with you. Out of curiosity, because I'm very proud of the company I'm with, EXP, and like all the benefits that we've received since moving over here. Have you ever looked at EXP as an option for your business? Like if they say, oh, hell no, I'm just coming from a place of curiosity and interest. Oh, really? What was it that like turned you off about the company just out of curiosity? Like there's no pressure, there's no sliminess, there's no network marketingness to this. Like I'm just excited about, like I'm obviously doing good business. Like if I'm you, I'm doing 70 to 100 deals. That's got to put you in the top 1 to 2% of your whole market. Like there's got to be less than 2% of the people in your MLS doing that much volume.
Yeah.
So you already have cred. So now you're telling somebody that obviously looks up to you, you probably do more deals than them. You're telling them, hey man, I made this move to EXP and it's the best thing I ever did. And I'm asking you if you looked at it for your business. And they're only going to have one or two things to say, but like that's got to be like, that's like being in the real estate business for the long term and not asking your clients for referrals. Like you just got to do that. So there's 70 to 100 more peaks that you're going to have per year, which is a tremendous amount. The next thing that I would do is, because I just understand real estate coaching and I've been to more events than I can count, is that most people receive information and do nothing with it. So if you go to a conference, somebody on stage is telling you the best secrets, the best things to do, the most practical application, the best framework for your day. And the reality is 95+% of that audience is going to take that information and do absolutely nothing with it. So with that premise in mind, and with the skills and success that you're having in your marketplace, I would identify your 1, 2, or 3 best things you do. And if it's expired's one of them, I would figure out what is the sizzle behind that. So like take all the deals that you have actively listed, that you've closed, or that you have pending right now for the year, that you got through expired marketing, figure out what the gross commission income is for that, and then say something to the effect of, come this Tuesday to learn how I've generated, $92,000 this year from expired marketing. Generated doesn't mean earned. You've generated it. It hasn't all come in yet. Some of them are active listings, some of them are pending. But how I've generated whatever the biggest number is you can, that's the sizzle. Come learn from me on how I did this. I'll be breaking down the exact system, tools, strategies, and processes that I've done to generate that in less than 6 months' time. Dude, you fill a room with 20 people. Again, there's no risk that like you're going to share your best stuff in your market and that it's going to hurt you. Most people aren't going to do anything with it. And even if they do something with it, they're so less advanced and along the way than you. Just give your best stuff away for free and fill a room, and then go deep on that one topic, and then tell them at the end, guys, many of you know I'm with EXP. I just shared with you exactly what I do to generate this amount of business. Is there anybody in the room that's generating that much or more business from that pillar? And the answer is going to be no, because that's why they're there. They wouldn't have responded to the ad. So then you're just like, look, this is the type of collaboration that me and my fellow EXP members have with each other. I'd love to partner with anybody of you here that heard this today, that got value from it and is interested in learning more. There's no pressure. There's no sales pitch, but I'd love to share with you how we're collaborating at a national level like this. And we're doing this with each other, and we're adding value to each other's business. If you'd like to learn more, stay behind. We're going to have a real brief presentation just so that you understand how EXP works and how we're able to work like this together.
That's good.
People will stay, man. You'll recruit people off that all day long. Glenn Sanford said that when people come to a lunch and learn to learn something, 60% of the people in the room that are not with EXP will join EXP within the next 6 months.
Wow.
So, I mean, I think those two things are probably, a great, things to implement in your business. What are some things that you have gotten value from by being with EXP, not on the agent attraction side, but just on the agent sales side?
Yeah, I mean, I have let me pull my my notes up here. So, I mean, I have a whole outline that I go over with people, and it's pretty easy because, I mean, when I've sat down and analyzed with other agents, like the cost, their output, and then their input, or what they're going to be saving inside of EXP, every time there's a huge difference.
Yeah.
So that part of the conversation is easy. And then the masterminds that we put on is a cool piece to the equation as well. But I don't feel like I have like one thing that just ropes everyone in, right?
Right.
I mean, I think it's all these pieces, and I haven't cracked the code on how to do this super well yet.
Well, the reality, Adam, is there is no one thing. A cost benefit analysis for top producers and team leaders is going to make sense 99% of the time. The training and masterminds are going to make sense a lot of the time for the newer agents that are coming up. Revenue share is going to make sense to a lot of team leaders and broker owners and coaches. Yeah. So it's like there's no one thing for everybody. The only one thing that I see is that we've got to first seek to understand the individual before we solve their problem.
That's good.
That's what I've been harping on today and yesterday. I was on a mastermind. Is like whenever you hear about somebody having a bad experience with an EXP agent, it's because the EXP agent was cramming down a solution before they identified a problem. And usually that solution that they were cramming down came from somebody that didn't even know. You never hear people say, hey, I hate EXP because my best friend brought EXP to me and talked to me about rev share. No, it's the best friend would have gotten past all that. The best friend knows them. They say, hey, some idiot in my market that I don't like, know, or respect, usually 1, 2, or 3 of those, called me about EXP and started talking about stocks and all this other stuff. And I didn't want to hear them. To which I say, so you've never really understood it or looked at it, right? And they might say, well, I understand it. I mean, like, well, can you explain to me in your own words, like how revenue share works? And then they can't. And I'm like, well, why don't we do this? Like, I don't want to be like that guy. I want to help you first. Let me understand a little bit more about your business. This may not be for you. Since I read that in that book, I use that all the time. This may not be for you, but I'll make sure you at least get a quality look at it and can understand it. Because you and me are both in this industry, whether we do EXP or not, it would make sense that we understand the business model of the fastest growing thing that's ever come through our industry, would it not? We don't have to decide right now today if it's for us or not, but we should at least start to understand what it is. And then that logic usually wins them over. I'll be like, hey man, I'll promise you this, Adam, I'm not going to sell you, but if we spend 15, 20 minutes together, you'll understand EXP, how it works, why it works, and why people are excited about it. And then you can make a good decision on whether or not you want to learn more about it, but you'll understand the business model at its core. And they're like, okay, cool.
Right on.
Anything else you want to share with us on today's call? I like that you got notes prepared.
Well, I got notes ready whenever I try to meet with someone. I tend to review these. What I've kind of come to learn is I think oftentimes it's a long-term play. So when we first hopped on to EXP, we thought, oh man, everyone's just going to come join us. This just makes so much sense. And we didn't have much traction at all when we first started. And then to slowly see some traction kind of happen in our market, it's taken a while, and it's not, for us, it just hasn't happened overnight.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
It's important. I sometimes have to balance that in my agent attraction efforts because people get really excited, and I can tell that they think this is going to be easy.
Yeah.
And they start thinking, oh, you only need 40 FLQAs. Well, I'm just going to build out 2 positions and I'm going to get 80 FLQAs. And it's like, on one hand, you want to be like, yeah, man, let's do it. But you also want to set them up for success. And it's like, hey guys, like, I'm excited that you're excited, and I'm going to help you do this in a big way. And if we get 80 FLQAs, I promise you won't be upset if they're all on one line. But there's not that many people in the company that have 40 FLQAs. And I would think that it's in your best interest to focus on 1 position, not 2, because you'll get that in like the stacking comment. Well, I'm gonna put my wife, who doesn't even have a license yet, in, and then I'm gonna come in under my wife, and we're gonna run 2 positions, and we're gonna. I'm like, no. And sometimes what I'll tell them is like, look, man, like, I've been doing this for 2.5 years. I broke the record in the company, and like, I could have done it that way too, but I didn't, and I'm glad I didn't. And I don't think it would have been a benefit if I did. And then sometimes that's, what you got to help them see. But I think, man, like, you got a good long-term perspective, and that's what we all need in this, real estate career, in agent attraction, and like, just keep chipping away at it, man. Like, you're doing a ton of deals. Just promise me you're going to come out of here and like at least talk to everybody you do a deal with. And yes, some of those people are going to like, you're going to mess it up. Like, you're going to be bad before you're good at that conversation, but role play it out with your dad, with Lars, with me, with somebody else. Let's get you at least proficient, and then have that conversation with everybody. Because if you do this for the next 10 years, because you're young, and you have, 1,000 more deals, and that's 1,000 more peaks, man, that alone could change your life without doing any other thing. Like, it take a little bit of time, you start picking away, your market will get traction and momentum. Like, I'm in the Bozeman market, and we got people on this call from Bozeman, and Bozeman's one of those markets where it's slow, it's new, but it's gaining traction, and all of a sudden it's going to be like bam, just like the Charlotte market was, and it's going to light on fire, and we're going to get people fast. But right now in the beginning, it's slow, and that's okay. You're in early. But you can have the primary, you can own that market as it grows, especially with the amount of production you're doing. Like, I think we all want to look at ourselves and like, we all lack confidence in some ways. And like, dude, you're killing it in real estate. People want to hear what you have to say. So like, go out there and share it with them.
Yeah.
That'd be my best advice to you.
Cool. I appreciate that.
Anybody else want to ask Adam a question that's on here? Going once, going twice.
Yes, I had a question for you, Adam. You mentioned that you're doing exceptionally well with, I guess, expireds.
Yeah.
Can you just do a real brief overview of kind of what your system is? What are you calling from? That type of sort of thing.
Sure. It's not complicated. So I have my admin pull a list of all the new expireds. I have her find all the phone numbers associated with that name, and I sit down and call them. And I typically begin that call by saying, hey, I'm not sure if I have the right phone number here. And that, just by saying that, the tone in their voice is like, oh, okay, this is a real person. And then I just ask them, I saw your home expired off the market and thought I'd see what your game plan is for the property looking forward. I'll let them talk it out because most of the time they like to talk about what happened. And then I'll say something like, I'd love to figure out with you why your property hasn't sold. Could I swing out there this week on Thursday, or would Friday be better for you? It takes a lot of calls. You're going to have a lot of, I don't screen my calls through any type of system to make sure they're still connected. I just start calling them, and I can get a handful of calls in. I got an appointment yesterday I probably made 20 calls and got a listing appointment on a property that expired for $750. So yeah.
I love what you said there, man. Like, let's figure this out together. Like, dude, that apply that straight to your agent attraction. Like, hey, let's figure out this together. Let's figure out this market together. Let's meet for coffee. Let me share some things that are working. You share some things that are working. Let's figure this out together. But one other key thing I heard you say was, you don't screen or you don't analyze. You just pick up the phone and call. If it's an expired, you're not like, oh, let me research this one. Who had this listed last? Do I really want to call them? Will they get mad at me if I call their expired listing? Like, you just call. Like, have that same mentality with everybody that you do a transaction with.
There are some agents I don't want to join though.
Yeah, that's the beauty of EXP. There's those that join your team and those that join your organization, and send them over, man. Send them under one of your people, one of your 10.
I guess.
That's funny though. It is true.
Yeah.
Oh man, all kinds of characters.
Cool. Well, yeah, that's great advice. I appreciate that. I mean, for me, I haven't been diligent on these kind of calls, and it's like a refresher when I hop on one of these every once in a while. Like, yeah, I need to, even though I'm busy and doing a lot of I need to make this a priority again, and I need to be consistent with this. So it's good to have these types of things. Like, we went to Build last year and we left Build. We're like, let's go. We're going to do this.
Nice.
We had that kind of momentum going for a couple months and had a ton of appointments. And now it's like, I can do better picking up the phone to call expired. I can make more immediate money, but it is a long-term play.
Now you get back to Build this year and you're in a whole new market environment, and you come back home and you call every one of those people that you called and set appointments with last time, and they're in a new season, and they, time, space, repetition. And now they're like, okay, I want to hear about it. Okay, let's sit down and talk. And then you call some new people and like, you have momentum again.
I love it.
Awesome, guys. Well, hey, I appreciate you guys. This was a great call, and I'm looking forward to doing more calls that are more interactive like this with you guys in the future. AJ couldn't be with us here today. He had a personal thing, but he'll be back with us here next week, and he's excited for the new format as well. So appreciate you guys. Let us know what we can do to help, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, John.
Bye.
Thanks.